Max Kellerman Show.
But to me, James Harden is the most important player on the team. He's raised his game even above his MVP levels. He just walked onto that team as a triple-double with 30 points in wins. And he and Kyrie, before KD was even there, were beating up the Western Conference.
The Max Kellerman Show, weekdays at 2 Eastern on ESPN Radio. Watch exclusively on ESPN+.
Janae and Golick Jr.
We had heard rumblings and reporting that the Jets had gotten offers on Darnold, but it wasn't to their liking. I love the fit with Carolina for a couple of reasons. First and foremost, we know and believe that Matt Rule and that group that...
Good morning. Welcome to Zone Center. Now, here's Scott Theisen.
All right, here we go. And good morning and welcome into your Zone Center for Thursday, April 15th. And we start with college baseball tonight. Alabama and Auburn kick off their three-game series on the baseball diamond. The 300th meeting between the two rivals. However, the two teams have not met each other on the diamond since 2019. The Tide come in riding a 4-game winning streak thanks to a 3-game sweep of Texas A&M and a midweek game against Samford. Alabama head coach Brad Bohannon.
Hey, great to see everybody. Really excited about the weekend for all the obvious reasons. Not just Auburn being an in-state rival, but we've had a good week. We've won 4 in a row, and we're putting ourselves in a position where it is a big weekend. Where we can really accomplish some big picture things. So. Going to be a real challenge. Don't let Auburn's SEC record fool you. They're 1-11, but 9 of their 11 losses in league play have been by 1 or 2 runs. They've been in virtually every game. There's a nice nucleus of their team that has played in the College World Series. It's an older group of position players. It's a good offensive team, and it'll be a real challenge for us. So we need to continue to grow. I thought this past weekend at Texas A&M was the first time that we played a complete weekend, that we didn't have that one inning in every game, that we lost focus or fell apart, and we were able to put 9 innings together and do it on back-to-back days. So I'm happy with where our club is. I feel like we've grown a lot. We have so many of our position players that this is their first time through the league, and I think they've had 4 SEC weekends now, and you're starting to see some growth offensively. And obviously, we're starting to get healthy on the mound. It was great to have Chase Lee and Antoine Jean out there last weekend in College Station, and they both did some good things, and they'll take a step forward this week. And obviously, Connor Prelip's going to be back with us this weekend, and we're all really excited about him because he's such a difference maker. So it's going to be a great weekend, and really anxious to get started tomorrow night.
Auburn heads into the matchup with some extra confidence as they notched a midweek win over 20th-ranked Georgia Tech. Auburn head coach Butch Thompson on the matchup.
Yeah, headed to play a rival this week. That's always exciting. Be good to see Brad because of our past relationship. Those guys are coming off of sweeping an SEC series and won again last night versus Samford. So we hopefully to carry a little momentum of our own last night in Atlanta. Played a solid baseball game, and would really love to have a good weekend in the SEC. So we're excited to go to Tuscaloosa. We'll go the same exact rotation we did last weekend. So guys will move up since this is a Thursday, Friday, Saturday series. We'll go Cody Greenhill, Jack Owen, Joseph Gonzalez in Game 3. And we're in a stretch here of 9 games in 2 weeks, and hopefully we can start playing with some momentum a little bit better and the outcome to be in our favor a little more often to have 2 good weeks.
Once again, tonight's game set for a 6 p.m. first pitch. You can hear all the action right here on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. That'd be a great time to download the 97.7 ESPN The Zone app. To search for 977 ESPN The Zone in your app store or marketplace. Take 97.7 ESPN The Zone wherever you go, and you can listen to tonight's Alabama-Auburn baseball game, 6 p.m. first pitch. The countdown to A-Day for both Alabama and Auburn continues Saturday, both teams will be on the field in front of fans for their final spring practice. Auburn players meeting with reporters yesterday, including former Madison Academy standout Austin Troxell. Troxell on being healthy and seeing the field for the whole season last year.
It's good to be back out there and complete a full year for the most part and stay healthy for all of it. It's been a long road, so it was good to definitely be available most of the year.
Jordan Hill. Austin Dillon from the end of last season to now. What improvements do you feel like you've made? How much, what kind of strides do you feel like you've made at this point in the spring?
Now I feel like I'm more confident in myself that I can actually do it, especially staying healthy. And, there was so much uncertainty whether or not I'd be able to play and all that. And, definitely just proving to myself that I can, play at this level and start and contribute. That's probably the main thing that how I've grown since last year.
We'll talk more spring football coming up a little bit later this morning on Talking Ball. We move into the professional ranks and we move into Major League Baseball. We start on the National League side. The Milwaukee Brewers blank the Chicago Cubs 7-0. Brewers' Corbin Burns has 30 strikeouts and no walks allowed through 3 starts this season. First pitcher in Major League Baseball history to do this since 1906. Washington blanks St. Louis 6-0. San Francisco blanks Cincinnati 3-0. It's the Dodgers over the Rockies 4-2. The Mets get by the Phillies 5-1. Pittsburgh gets by San Diego 5-1. And the Miami Marlins notch a win over the Atlanta Braves 6-5. And for the Braves, they will try to avoid the sweep from the Marlins later today. American League action. The Chicago White Sox blank the Cleveland Indians 8-0. Carlos Rondon came into the 9th inning looking for the perfect game.
He got it! 3 White Sox pitchers all time have gone 27 up, 27 down. 3 outs separate Carlos from being the 4th.
Rondon would come within within 2 outs away from getting the perfect game, but a hit batsman in the 9th inning would end the perfect game. Still, Carlos had a chance for the no-hitter.
3-2. Rodon to third. Moncada. Carlos Rodon has thrown a no-hitter. After everything he's been through, the elbow and the shoulder were supreme on April 14th, 2021.
Rodon gets the no-hitter. Detroit gets by Houston 6-4 for the sweep. Kansas City gets by Los Angeles Angels 6-1. Boston gets a win in Game 1 over Minnesota of their doubleheader, and then they make it a sweep as they take Game 2 7-1. The Toronto Blue Jays over the New York Yankees 5-4. Texas gets by Tampa Bay 5-1. The NCAA college football talk. The NCAA voted yesterday to allow players to transfer without sitting a season. We'll talk more about the one-time transfer rule coming up this morning on Talking Ball. And Arizona has hired Gonzaga assistant Tommy Lloyd as their new head basketball coach. Want to invite you to head to 977ESPN.com. In the upper left-hand corner, click on Zone Deals. Coming up this Friday morning at 8 a.m., you can get a round of golf for 2 and a cart for the price of 1 at Gunner's Landing for just $55. You can get a voucher for 2 players and a cart for the price of 1 at Beautiful's Gunner's Landing. 18 masterful created holes, offering awe-inspiring beauty with a choice of difficulty ranging from moderate to, well, 30 tough. Gunner's Landing goes on sale Friday, $55 for a round of 2 and a cart. Make sure you stay with 97.7 ESPN, The Zone, for Talking Ball, which is set to begin at the top of the hour. This has been your Zone Center for Thursday, April 15th.
$97.7 ESPN, The Zone. It's time.
Hey, good morning, guys. Normally we do not stream in time for everybody to hear Zone Center, but we wanted to let everybody hear Zone Center this morning. We do that every morning at 6:45. It's kind of just like an extended sportscast. It's about 10 minutes long. We let you hear extended interviews sometimes. This morning it was Brad Bohannon. And it was Butch Thompson. You know, Alabama-Auburn playing on the Diamond this weekend. They've got a 3-game series starting tonight, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Of course, tonight's game will be shown, or you can listen to tonight's game right here on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. First pitch is set for 6 p.m. Tyler Ross will be on the diamond for Alabama. Cody Greenhill will be on the diamond for Auburn. So you can listen to that coming up here tonight at 6 p.m. Also, want to let you kind of know what we've got in store for you this morning here on Talking Ball. We're going to talk about the NCAA. We've been doing well, keeping you updated on when the council's meeting, when they're going to pass everything. And indeed, they did pass everything yesterday. We'll go over everything that they passed, what the outlook is, what it could mean to college football, what it can mean to college basketball. We want to get your opinions on this. And don't forget, the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline will be wide open for you this morning starting at 7 o'clock. It's 256-576-4977. 256-576-4977. That's the number to the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. And we want you to join us this morning with your thoughts and opinions. Hey, we're going to talk the NFL draft. Kirk Herbstreit is going to help us weigh in on some of that. He did some comments yesterday on Mac Jones of the 49ers, on Trevor Lawrence. He did some great comments, and we want to hear from Kirk Herbstreit on all of that. How would you rank the top 25 quarterbacks in college football right now? Could you rank the top 25? 24/7 tried to rank the top 25 quarterbacks going into the fall, and we will hear from all of them. If you got any Facebook questions, you can send those in now. We have a few minutes. We can do a little Facebook chat if you want to right now. If you got any kind of questions or any kind of concerns before we actually join our radio listeners. So if you got anything that you want to talk about, now's a great time to do so. Don't forget, you can find us on YouTube. We are on Twitter. We are on Twitch. So the show is up and it's running. I apologize for not having it up and running yesterday. Sometimes we get technology that just doesn't want to cooperate. And yesterday, it didn't want to cooperate with us. So what do we have else in store? Hold on a second here. I'm just going through. Trying to look at something here while I go through everything. Just doing okay here. I'm losing my train of thought because my computer was not quite ready to go. I was ready to go, but my computer was not quite ready to go. So anyway, if you want to join us on Facebook, go ahead. Send us your questions, your comments. I know we have not gone through and answered a ton of those questions and comments in a while. I know we need to get through some of those, and we do. If you have anything, if you have a question or a comment and you want to send it in on the show, go ahead and do so. You can even do it right now, and we will get to them, I promise. We'll get to them as fast as we can here this morning. I cannot remember my password. Oh. Apparently, I forgot my password to log in to Facebook on the big computer. So, anyway, join us there, and we will get ready for your radio audience here in just a minute. But what else are we going to talk about? The Atlanta Braves. We got to talk about the Atlanta Braves today on the show because the Atlanta Braves are struggling as a team, with the exception of Ronald Acuna Jr. If you've not paid attention to the Atlanta Braves, Ronald Acuna Jr. is having a fantastic season right now. The problem is the rest of the team is struggling. So we'll go over that. Tennessee, Josh Heupel, recruiting the state of Tennessee. What does this mean? We're going to explain, because it all could mean something bigger for the class of 2023. So we've got that to look forward to. Talking Ball, we're going to begin here in just a minute. Hang with us. We're going to start here in just a second. We're going to join. We got to merge the radio audience. We got to merge this audience. This is like a little pre-thing that we do. So we got to merge everybody together. Stay with us. Don't go anywhere. Keep listening. Keep watching. Give us just a minute.
Parts, better prices every day.
Now, here are the latest lines from my guys in the desert. Baseball futures updated this week. The New York Yankees, the favorite to win the American League pennant at 14-5 odds. The White Sox at 19-4. The defending American League champs, the Rays, had opened at 5-1 but slipped to 14-1. Dodgers favored to win the NLCS 33-20. The Padres at 9-2 and the Mets at 27-4. UFC 261 is scheduled a week from Saturday. Kamaru Usman and Jorge Masvidal Part 2. Masvidal plus 300 on the money line. Usman minus 400. This Sunday, the Toyota Owners 400 at Richmond Raceway. Martin Truex, the odds-on favorite, plus 400. Denny Hamlin at plus 600. Brad Keselowski at plus 700. Joey Logano and Kyle Larson each at plus 800 odds.
I'm Trey Westerberg, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Log on today, 977ESPN.com. And Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
All right, here we go. And just like that, we are off and running. It is another brand new live edition of Talking Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond. Welcome into a Win Thursday. Welcome in to a Thursday edition of Talking Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. It is good to be with you on this Thursday. Don't forget the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline is wide open for you this morning. 256-576-4977. That is the number to the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. We want to hear from you on this Thursday morning. We have got a ton of stuff to get to. We want to welcome our Facebook Live audience. We want to welcome our Twitter audience, our Twitch, our YouTube channel. We are live on there. You can watch us, hear us, check us out there each and every morning right here on Talking Ball. By the way, today is... if you are a fan of Major League Baseball, if you are a fan of sports, today is a big day. Happy Jackie Robinson Day. It's the 74th anniversary of Jackie Robinson breaking the color barrier. So that means today and tomorrow, if your team doesn't play today, or if they're not playing today, if they're playing tomorrow, but today is the day that clubs will commemorate Jackie Robinson Day at ballparks throughout Major League Baseball. Everybody will be wearing the number 42. Players, managers, coaches, umpires, and all on-field personnel will wear Jackie Robinson's iconic number. Special batting practice T-shirts. They have been designed by the Players Alliance. They will be worn today and tomorrow throughout warm-ups. Thing is, you can't buy those T-shirts. They're only going to be available for the players. 42 logo will appear on uniform sleeves, while team-specific uniform font and colors will be featured as a patch on the New Era caps. Major League Baseball will donate all license royalties from the sales of caps to the Jackie Robinson Foundation. So happy Jackie Robinson Day all across Major League Baseball. The 74th anniversary of Jackie Robinson breaking the color barrier. That's how we start Talking Ball this morning. We have got a lot to get to. The NCAA does exactly what we said they would do. It's no secret. They passed the one-time transfer rule. What does this mean? Is it going to be wild, wild west in football and basketball? We've seen the transfer portal in basketball light up like remember back in the day, a Jerry Lewis telethon hotline where everyone just called in, all the lights light up. That was the transfer portal this past season in college basketball. Is it going to be that way every year now for college football, college basketball? The dead period, we're going to talk about that. We're going to continue to talk the NFL draft. Kirk Herbstreit's going to help us break down Mac Jones, Trevor Lawrence, the 49ers, and Mac Jones. What about quarterbacks playing this fall in college football? 24/7 Sports has ranked the top 25 signal callers for the upcoming season. Where does Bo Nix and Bryce Young figure in that equation? We got SEC baseball to talk about. The Atlanta Braves, we do have to talk about the Braves. Ronald Acuna Jr. is absolutely hot. The rest of the Braves are as cold as my deep freeze.
Yeah, I was going to say, do we have to?
Tennessee and Josh Heupel get their first commitment, but it could be what's coming in 2023 as to why this one is important now. And we got all that to get to, plus your phone calls this morning. And Drew, the NCAA, no secret, no suspense here. The one-time transfer rule passes.
Yeah, but of course now the next domino, maybe by the end of the week, is the SEC approving an interconference transfer rule.
Right, the Big 12 eliminated theirs yesterday.
Yep, so I think the SEC will do so. That's what Henry To'oTo'o is waiting on, and then he'll decide, is it Alabama where the winners go, or is it the Suckeyes where the losers go? So that's where he's got to decide. Do you want to be a winner, or do you want to L it? So we'll see. As you can tell, I'm no fan of the Big Ten, but certainly Ohio State's a great program. But if I'm Henry To'oTo'o and I have a choice, drop the zero and get with the hero, as the old saying goes. So that's what I would be doing. But we'll see what he decides to do. But I still think he and his father have been waiting on that to have all their cards on the table. And then of course, Ohio State and Alabama are going to battle it out for JT Tuilamoau, who now says, due to the fact that, Mark Emmert woke up and saw his shadow, and June the 1st is going to be the dead period lifting. He's going to try to make 5 visits in June before he makes his decision. So he needs to, I'd say expedite the process. I mean, certainly kids are getting on campus now in May and in June. So you need
council today,
you need to start working with your team. But yeah, we'll see.
After today, it's not official. The council has to vote on it. Today is the last day of the Division I council meetings. Mm-hmm. They are expected to end the dead period as soon when those meetings come to a close. That's their last vote. I've been told that is when they will vote for the dead period to be over. And as you mentioned, it will be over, and we will get to some sense of normalcy for college football recruiting.
Which means visits and in-person stuff. We had Luke Guyette on the show yesterday, and he signed with Wallace State. Now, as he told us and educated us, in junior college wise and the divisions below, the Division I, you can visit schools and see coaches face to face. And what I mean by that is I think it's Division II and lower. I'm not sure you can have face-to-face. I don't think you can in FCS right now, but you can on those levels. And so it is somewhat normal, but now we hope to completely get back to normal starting June the 1st. It's taken too long. It should have already been normal, in my opinion. At least by February or March, to allow basketball players on the Division I level to visit. But again, it is what it is, and you have to deal with it. But certainly glad to see June the 1st sanity will start prevailing again.
Dan Mullen told Dennis Dodd.
There's no telling what dumb told dumber. What was this?
This was Dan Mullen's quote to Dennis Dodd about recruiting. He says, "Everyone has become efficient at Zoom. I'm great at talking to the kids and all that. The coach is leaving campus. Maybe you don't even go on the road recruiting anymore in the future. You can do it Zoom. You can talk and have these conversations." He said, but he goes, "It is hard for me to Zoom presentation to show what standing in the middle of the swamp is like. You're down here in Florida, November, December, January, February, and it's palm trees. The actual beauty of the campus, you don't get that in a Zoom call. I wonder in the future, though, do they even let the coaches ever out on the road again?"
Well, they're even talking about legislation to reinstate the bump rule. But let me ask everybody a question here. Has Dan Mullen ever won a title? As a head coach. Now, he rode the coattails of Urban Liar. We know that.
Yes.
But did he ever win? No. And you want to know why? Because he's lazy and he's not a good recruiter.
You have mentioned that before, and when I saw that come up, I saw that quote, I thought of you. I thought of everything that you have said.
Really good football coach. Got great offensive mind, can develop quarterbacks with the best of them, but he doesn't win championships. He always lays turds, LSU, because he's lazy. And he doesn't want to get out. And at Mississippi State, he had some inherited disadvantages. And he probably did as well as you could do there. But still, he still wasn't considered an elite recruiter. And he hasn't been at Florida yet. And that's the reason. Sorry, but it is. And then, of course, he starts injecting himself trying to get to the NFL because he can't win a championship. But, he's a really good football coach. But I'm just saying, is he elite? Hell no. And that's the reason.
Let's go to the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Jeff from the Burrows with us on this Thursday morning. Good morning, Jeff.
What's going on, guys?
Good morning, Jeff.
Well, Drew and Scott, did you, another host on y'all station, said that the Braves wearing them 1970s pajamas, y'all enjoying that?
They're nice-looking uniforms. I certainly like the way they look, but they're certainly not playing very well.
I think they're awful. You can't do much with that A, though, so that A on that hat, you can't do too much with that because that's the scarlet letter as far as history is concerned. So we can't do much with that. So, but I'm a Cubs fan, and they can't hit either. They can pitch, they can't hit. So hopefully they'll get well this weekend when the Cubs come up to Chicago because if the Braves can hit, they can't get nobody out. And I guess Acuna, every time he hits a home run, I guess he's gonna watch it go over the wall. It's kind of like Bear Bryant. Act like you've done it before and run the bases. Quit staring at the ball, will you? Quit staring at it and run the bases. Quit fooling around. It's really sickening. He finally beats the ground ball out the first time he's ever done in his career. He finally beat one out, and everything. So, because 2 years ago when he didn't run the bases hard, that time the snitch got all over. I'd have seen him down to single A and then bus league. He'd be learning. He'd be learning to hustle real bad. He learned to hustle. That's what he'd be learning to do. But maybe the Braves will find some pitching and they can get somebody out because they sure can't beat the Marlins. I can tell you that. They sure can't beat them in 4 in a row now. So I guess that replay call screwed them. If they'd been called that guy out, Drew and Scott would have been loving it. But since they called that guy safe, y'all hate replay now because they called him safe. So, and all that stuff. But I didn't want to get y'all talking about the Tennessee recruit. He's from Murfreesboro out here, my high school. He committed to him. He's a linebacker. I'm not sure how big his size or anything, but he's a pretty good ball player for him. So he said he wasn't worried about the Tennessee's past or what troubles they got right now. He said he's looking toward the future of Tennessee. Thinks they're going to have a bright future. So, I don't know. I wish him luck as far as going there. A couple other players and Riverdale High School, went to Tennessee, and done pretty well. So I guess he'll do well up there as far as recruiting wise, but and everything. But I know Kentucky's got some decisions this weekend. 3 players that hopefully they'll get all 3 of them. All the crystal balls say they will, but I won't believe it until I hear it out of their mouths. The Wade twins up here in Franklin, not where I'm far from, and this Goodwin kid from Indiana. He's down to Ohio State, Michigan State, Alabama, Clemson, and Kentucky. And Kentucky was the first one to offer him in middle school when he was over 400 pounds, and now he's lost about 130 pounds. He's down about 300 pounds now, about 6'7", 300 pounds. Hopefully, they'll get some positive stuff on the recruiting trail and things. And also, what about that Nick Saban? Nick Saban really going to pass? I know you're not for that though. I know you don't like that. Is that true?
No, I mean, I'm all for it. I mean, he outworks all the other head coaches. I mean, I can't help that. We were just talking about Dan Mullen. I mean, he doesn't get out, doesn't work. He's talking about maybe we can just do this via Zoom the rest of my career, and I can continue to underachieve. But actually, he's done a really solid job at Florida. I mean, he's got them back, but so did Jim McElwain, and then Coach Mack got fired. And so he made 2 straight SEC championship games. So eventually Dan's going to have to win those games, just like he did beat Georgia, got over that hump this year. Now he's got a lot of holes to fill. Georgia's the heavy favorite in the East. And then after that, maybe could be your Kentucky Wildcats, could be Missouri. We'll see. The third slot is wide open in the East right now.
But there's already a guy that writes for Saturday down south. He's already predicted. He predicted months ago that Kentucky was finished second in the East. He said Georgia was going to win it, and Kentucky was finished second in the East. Of course, we all know when media days comes, the media's never going to put Kentucky second in the East. They'll never do that. They'll put them sixth like they normally do. And Stoops had to put up all that hell, that damn media, telling me he can't win and can't do anything. They know who his brother is, but nobody knows who Mark Stoops is. They know who his brother is, though, because his brother's going to the Hall of Fame this fall, so they know who he is. I don't know if Stoops will ever get there, though, because you got to have a 60% winning percentage, and he'll have the games coach in the years, but he might not have the winning percentage, so he might not get in the Hall of Fame. But like I told the guy last night, that was a big Kentucky fan. I just made him see he had a hat on. I said nobody ever gives Stoops any respect, and I told him about Calipari, and he said they'll be fine. They're going to be all right. So you know what Calipari said at the Final Four on game day this year? He said Kentucky. He said people laughed and celebrated at our expense. So he said he's ready for basketball to get started and everything. So we got Duke coming out first game next year, and it'll be hopefully it'll be a fun deal. They gonna play out on it too. Patino's gonna come back to campus, I guess. So we'll see. And one final thing, guys, I know Madoff passed away yesterday. A lady called up Feinbaum yesterday, and Feinbaum said there was a connection with Madoff. I didn't know this, but Madoff went to University of Alabama for 1 year and then transferred. He said it had been an embarrassment if he had graduated from Alabama. I guess all the schools would use it against Alabama. Nobody asked Saban about it, but nobody they used it against Alabama. They said, come to Alabama, learn your Ponzi schemes, and become a criminal. So y'all hang in there and go Big Blue BB and see y'all.
Yeah, okay, Jeff. Yeah, I have no idea what that last part was. Really wasn't even paying attention.
Where is he? Is he gone yet?
Wasn't paying attention.
Oh,
Spencer.
Where?
Let's go. Let's wake
Hey, Spencer, I just woke up, man. Is Jeff gone yet?
Good morning, Spencer.
Lord have mercy.
Is he gone yet, Spencer?
I'm still trying to understand exactly. I heard him say Alabama 4 or 5 times, and I'm sure he was trying to insult Alabama fans in some form or fashion. But
he insulted Alabama fans by basically saying that Bernie Madoff or whatever helped them be cheaters.
Even though Chris Mills says hello with his $1,000 in an envelope, but I mean, whatever.
Whatever.
I mean, I don't know how many times Kentucky's been caught cheating in basketball, but I think I lost count back when Rupp was coaching. But whatever.
Anyway, what's on your mind, Spencer?
That man must talk an awful lot because his voice is raspy every single time he talks. Sounds like he's been yelling at a.
I had some Kentucky bourbon.
It's the bourbon. I got you.
Yeah.
I want to talk. I want to talk about Deshaun Watson, guys. I want to switch it up a little bit because I've been, for months and months we talked about how Deshaun Watson wanted out of Houston. He wanted out of Houston. He wasn't going to play there anymore. And then all of a sudden it got switched to one person coming out and saying he sexually assaulted them or something, form or fashion. And now there's 21 people that came out and said that mess. Now, what is the real story behind all of this going on with Deshaun Watson? Did it actually happen and get leaked and get suppressed by Houston, but now they're letting it leak to kind of hurt his reputation a little bit so he's not as valuable? Did Houston make it up? So they're like, hey, man, you can't leave now because nobody's going to take you because you have 21 cases of sexual assault against you now. I'm just trying to understand the whole thing, man. I thought Deshaun Watson was a class act, and he just wanted out of Houston, and now all of a sudden he's on everybody's radar because of sexual assault.
Well, the timing is very interesting. I think you bring up some interesting points, Spencer. I mean, I've wondered the same thing with, he was trying to force a trade. Everybody said there's no way he ever plays another down for Houston. And then everything has fallen apart. And now you wonder, is he even going to play football this year? So nobody knows. And then A.J. McCarron's no longer under contract by the Houston Texans. So what are they going to do at the quarterback position? They almost have to address it in the draft, not in the first round, but they certainly need to take a young quarterback. But I mean, it's I don't know. That's a great question as far as what is the future now of Deshaun Watson, because I know they had one lady I think drop the lawsuit, but it's still 20 plus women. So at the very least, it looks like he's going to face some sort of suspension, you would think.
Yeah, and obviously at this point, Spencer, it's the courts. I mean, it's all into the courts, and we're going to find out more information because it's going to go to court. We're going to find out more information, and that is where Deshaun Watson will have his say, and he'll be judged from that.
Well, and I understand that he has multiple other women that have come out and have said that he's a stand-up guy.
Right.
And signed affidavits saying that he's a real class act and there's nothing wrong with it. I mean, he's a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. Yeah. Now that is a very difficult thing to do and a very hard thing to replace. Now, in my opinion, and this is just me being a conspiracy theorist and all, but I believe that he told the front office, the hell with you. I'm not playing here again. I don't agree with what you're doing. I don't care what you're going to do to me. Well, and then they're like, well, hey, guys, you remember all that stuff that happened way back when, and we just kind of pushed it under the rug a little bit? Well, oops, now it's out.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that'll have to come out, and there's a lot of stuff. Definitely he went from controlling his future by asking for a trade and saying he's not playing for Houston. Because in today's NFL, it's all about the players having the power and the voice, and he had that. Now he doesn't. So
he has nothing now.
Yeah, it'll be.
Bad for the guy.
We'll just have to see how it all plays out. And now, unfortunately, It's in the courts.
Thank you, Spencer.
Thanks. Have a good one.
Yeah, I mean, we can't give a definitive answer on that one. Let's get one more phone call in here real fast. Shane's with us. Good morning, Shane.
Morning, Shane.
Good morning, fellas. Long time no talk. How are you?
Good.
Yeah, we're depressed with the Braves, man. It's sad so far.
Yeah, that's what I want to rant about this morning. First of all, why did we get rid of Adam Duvall just so he can come back and smoke check us every freaking game? I mean, this is ridiculous, man.
Yeah.
And on top of that, Atlanta's pitching is an embarrassment.
That's the biggest thing for me. It's bad. The starting pitching has been atrocious so far. I mean, just really bad. I mean, Max Fried, he's been doing nothing but ducking, man. I mean, and now, of course, he's hurt and he's on the 10-day DL. But, man, it has been bad. Smiley's been bad. Morton got roughed up last night. I mean, they scored 8 runs, and then the night before, and then last night, they scored 5 or 6, I believe. 6-5, that's right. They scored 5 runs. That should be enough to win a Major League Baseball game. But the pitching, the bullpen, too, all of it has been bad.
Right. Yeah, I mean, you can't win games without pitching. I mean, our offense is there. It's coming around. I mean, the top of the order, with Acuna, Freddie's starting to come around. I think Marcel will start will start hitting, a lot more efficiently very soon. But I mean, the back end of the order and then the pitching is just. I mean, when we get past our fourth hitter, I mean, I give up at that point. And then, for the Marlins to come in, the Marlins haven't won a series in Atlanta, and I don't know how many years. It's been a long time. But I mean, for them to come in and smoke check us like they have, it's very embarrassing. But I mean, I don't think we made the right moves in the offseason either. I mean, for one, like I said, get rid of Adam Duvall.
Yeah,
That dude was a beast for us last year.
Well, the thing that bothered me is the strength of that club last year, besides the lineup with the universal DH before, Rob Manfred made another stupid decision. I mean, just to add to it, I mean, that guy's a moron. He could get a moron award every day of the week.
Yeah,
but anyway,
that took a bat away from every National League team.
It didn't lengthen the lineup. And then I think they made a mistake in not bringing back Shane Green and Melanson because they had a lot of bullpen depth, and that was the strength of that club. And now they, Will Smith, they've given him big money. He stunk. I mean, the excuse last year was it was COVID. It affected him. Well, he stunk this year, too. He's not closing games like he needs to. Really, honestly, who would have ever thought this? Newcomb looks like their best reliever, at least as far as finishing games goes. But, I mean, they don't have a couple more quality arms down there because they decided to bring in Drew Smiley, and hopefully he'll turn it around, but he has not been good so far.
Hey, Drew, I got a question for you.
Sure.
So tell me if you agree with this or not. Ronald Acuna Jr. is by far the best contract in Major League Baseball at $100 million for 8 years. I mean, that kid is worth $450 million.
Oh, I don't think there's any question. To get he and Ozzie Albies under those kind of long-term 8, 7, and 8 year contracts at the prices they got, it's an unbelievable moves by Alex Anthopoulos. But you know what? Pitching. Need better pitching than this. Don't need to duck all the time. I mean, look, I don't even blame him for the lineup moves. Okay, I really do hope Ozuna gets going because I think we know what he's capable of doing. But they've got a boat anchor, out in left field, unfortunately. And I know they've been trying to play him, but they gave him a long-term contract a few years ago, and Ender was swinging the bat pretty well at that time. Now he can't hit. And so Drew Waters, obviously, they don't think he's ready yet. They probably think he needs another year. And then Pache is a young player who is hurt now. And actually, he's shown some flashes early, but, his bat's still a work in progress. They need another veteran bat, and that goes back to your point of why didn't they bring back Duvall at an affordable price, because he did do some really good things in Atlanta.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, that was going to be my last point. I mean, Marcel, but taking the DH away was ridiculous. I mean, just
stupidity.
Stupid, yes, absolutely.
Yeah, let's put in a softball rule, because softball is a great sport. It is. I really love watching it. It's fast. I mean, these ladies played at a very high level, especially on the collegiate level and in elite high school talent. I mean, it's fun to watch, but it's not baseball. So don't put a softball rule into Major League Baseball. Stupid. Use the universal DH, you idiots. Not that kind of tiebreaker rule. That's why baseball always has labor strife, because they always make the wrong decisions, because they're a bunch of morons.
Agreed. All right, guys, have a good day, man. Good talking to you.
All right, thanks. Let's get a break in. When we come back, we will go over Ronald Acuna Jr.'s numbers. Just how hot has he been?
You're listening to Talkin Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
We are dealing with a heavy traffic load, but it looks like we've got a clean slate now. Haven't found any wrecks or stalls or traffic signal problems. Don't forget Highway 36 in Morgan County is now closed between 67 and I-65. That is a year-long bridge replacement. No mask, no hose. The Somnodent from Dr. Sandman's an easy-to-use oral device, insurance approved for sleep apnea and for snoring. 350-CARE or RandallSandlin.com. Captain Nick in the Jordan Lane Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
Jesus tells us to go the second mile. Well, sometimes it's hard enough to go the first mile. But when the Lord is number one in our lives, we not only go the first mile, but we embrace the second mile. We can talk all we want about Jesus and how important he is to us, but we show it in the second mile. In the second mile, the world has changed. In the second mile, the difference is made. In the second mile, the lost world sees Christ in us. Hey, I'm John Dees, pastor of Cross Point Church. We're smack dab across the street from the YMCA in Madison. And check us out at cpcfamily.org.
Are you in the market for a recreational vehicle? Do you want to get out and see more of this beautiful country? Well, imagine hearing the laughter of your little ones enjoying gooey s'mores by a cozy campfire and making lasting memories with your friends and family from the comfort of a new camper. We can make your dreams come true at Hall's RV. With over 15 years in the camping business, we know how to get our customers into the perfect camper. We have several models and floor plans here for you to choose from, both new and used. We're family owned and operated with fantastic deals and great service. Everyone wants to work with people they can trust, so come on down to Hall's RV and get the deal of a lifetime. We'll treat you right and get you on the road in the camper of your dreams. Visit us on Highway 431 in Albertville. Hall's RVs, where we sell fun. Or see us on the web at www.hallsrvsales.com.
This is Paul Feinbaum. Listen to me coming up today at 2. Now back to Talking Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
All right, here we go. All right, 7:30 here on a Thursday morning, and we were talking some Braves there before the break. And just how good has Ronald Acuna Jr. been so far? Well, he has 6 home runs, 2 multi-homer games. He scored 3 runs on Wednesday. He has 13 extra base hits this season. He's already matched Hank Aaron for the most extra base hits by a Braves player through 12 games since 1900. The Braves' record for most extra base hits is 22, set by Ozzie Albies in 2018. The Major League record for April belongs to Jermaine Dye with 23. So Ronald Acuna Jr. has been fantastic. Nearly single-handedly won the game yesterday for Atlanta. Yeah. But obviously, Drew, the batting is what is disappointing right now. The Braves offense, with runners in scoring position, they entered yesterday's game.
Well, the whole thing has been disappointing.
Just batting 200.
Yeah.
With runners in scoring position, entering yesterday's game, they were just 208. 16 of 77 in the situation. 6th lowest average in Major League Baseball. A night after going 4 of 13 in the category, they went 1 for 5. Yesterday in a tight loss. So if you got runners in scoring position, you got to get them in.
You do. You got it. That's why they lost at the end of last night. They couldn't get the big hit, but certainly the Marlins did off of Tyler Matzik, and he was throwing hard, 96 to 99 miles an hour. It's just one of those things. Baseball's a funny game, Scott. It's almost contagious. If 1 or 2 guys aren't pitching well, it seems like the whole staff goes in the tank. Acuna has continued to swing the bat well, but everybody else is not.
Acuna has a 447 batting average. The next highest average for a Braves regular, Travis d'Arnaud at 231.
I was going to say it can't be above like 250. Nobody's hitting but Acuna, so that's the problem. So. Hopefully they're going to – it's been real streaky. They lost 4 in a row. They won 4 in a row. And now they've lost 4 in a row again. They just got to get going. That's the way Major League Baseball is. It's a marathon, not a sprint. It's concerning.
Yeah.
But they need to just start today and get a win, stop the bleeding, and then move on.
All right. So that's some Braves baseball for you.
And you'll hear Braves baseball today on the getaway starting at 11 o'clock. It's a one of those getaway days.
I think it's like 11:20 is the first pitch. So,
you'll hear the pregame as well after the Czar and Joe Hunk.
After they work 1 hour.
Yeah. Well, that's what we're doing today because we got baseball all over the place.
We do.
Because the Alabama-Auburn series is starting tonight on Thursday night. It's going to be a Thursday, Friday, Saturday series this week, and you'll hear all those games here on 97.7 The Zone, starting with about 5:55 usually. It's about a 5-minute pregame, and then Chris Stewart, Roger Hoover will be on the call.
300th meeting between the two teams, and because of the pandemic, because of nobody playing SEC baseball last year, 2019, May 3rd through the 5th, 2019, the last time Alabama and Auburn met on the baseball diamond.
Mm-hmm. And I believe, and they also played in Montgomery that year, in a couple years ago, and I believe they split 4 games. So it's going to be an interesting series. Auburn comes in struggling. Now, Alabama had lost 9 out of 10, but they've won 4 straight. They win 19-3 on Tuesday against Samford. The offense exploded. They were down 1-0, but Jackson Tate 2-run homer seemed to spark them. And the coolest part, of course, was Caden Rose gets into the game, Scott, and makes a huge impact. He goes 2 out of 3, hits his 3rd bomb, and also scores a couple runs, knocks in 4 runs. So he had a 2 RBI double as well. So good for Caden, former Bob Jones Patriot, getting in there and making his presence felt.
And Auburn coming in a disappointing series in the SEC over the weekend, but they come and they get a win over 20th ranked Georgia Tech in their midweek game this week.
Nice,
so hopefully they're coming in playing a little baseball. I think 9 of their 11 losses have come by 1 run or 2 runs this season for Auburn. So you're 1-11 coming in SEC play. You flip some of those 1-run games around, and things could be a little bit different.
Mm-hmm.
So, again, Alabama-Auburn baseball tonight, 6 p.m. right here on 97.7 ESPN.
Should
The Zone.
Russellville's Cody Greenhill on the bump.
It is.
And against Tyler Ross,
it is.
New Jersey native for Alabama.
Yep, that is going to be the matchup for tonight. And I can tell you, I think they have listed all of them. Jack Owen will get the start for Auburn on Friday. Dylan Smith will get the start for Alabama on Friday. Joseph Gonzalez will get the start for Auburn on Saturday. And Connor Prelip will get the start for Alabama on Saturday.
Only his 2nd appearance of the season. I think he pitched 5 innings in game 1. Connor Prelip, a preseason All-American, Scott, a guy that was getting first-round buzz after being dominant as a freshman a year ago and then pitching this summer. So he came in with a lot of expectations. We haven't seen him. Going to be interesting to see, how he feels as he's deciding to go back out on the mound for Alabama. He's been having some soreness. I'm sure he'll be on a pitch count, but it's going to be really interesting to see the lefty from Wisconsin come out there and become that Sunday guy. Alabama also has Antoine Jean, the Canadian. He had missed a few weeks due to tendonitis. He came back last week to start the final game against Texas A&M. He gave them nearly 3 innings, so he'll probably be somebody they look to maybe out of the bullpen to continue to give them, to kind of be a bridge, because we certainly don't expect Prelip to pitch deep into the game, with this being only his 2nd appearance of the year.
All right. That is some baseball news for you going on. Phone lines are open to you. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Phone lines are open, 256-576-4977. If you got anything on this first hour that is on your mind. College football recruiting news and notes. Tennessee's Josh Heupel, Drew, lands his first Tennessee recruit. Elijah Herring commits to play for the Vols, Riverdale High School out there in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. First commit of 2022. Now, what's important to note about this is he's the nation's 49th outside linebacker, number 24 prospect in the state of Tennessee. But his younger brother, Caleb, is a 4-star prospect and the number 1 prospect in the state of Tennessee for the 2023 class. So while Josh Heupel got the younger brother, could it pave roads for the older brother to land in Tennessee? And Josh Heupel starting by getting some recruits in-state, trying to keep the kids in-state at Tennessee.
Well, we'll see. I mean, historically, Tennessee has not produced a ton of elite talent, but they seem to be doing a better job of developing players. And so that's the first way Tennessee is going to recover and become better is to recruit their state well and to recruit the Southeast. And, they need players. And now with the way the climate's changing, they need to be one of the most aggressive teams in the transfer portal in the country because they need to go out and sign about 4 linebackers. Because right now you heard, Vince Ferrari yesterday.
Yeah.
3 with Beasley being suspended, they've got 3? He said 3 scholarship linebackers. How can you even play that way? So they've got to get out in the portal and be aggressive.
All right, 7:40. Let's get our break in. When we come back, we're going to talk NFL draft. Kirk Herbstreit going to lend his knowledge.
You're listening to Talkin Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Just got a new wreck at Pine Grove and Pettis Road. That one's coming in as a no injury. Apparently, they have pulled it to the side of the road there. State troopers on the way for it. Everything else looking good this morning. You don't see any other snags. You be careful on your trip in. No mask, no hose. The Somnodent from Dr. Sandman's an easy-to-use oral device, insurance approved for sleep apnea or snoring. Seeing your doctor is important. Don't put it off. 350-CARE or RandallSandlin.com. Captain Nick in the 72 and Jeff Popeye's Skywatch Traffic Center.
This is Wes Neighbors with Philip with Eagle Insulation, and we have an announcement to make.
Yes, Wes, we are now Eagle Masonry and Insulation. Still a place to call for your installation needs, but now we offer masonry services.
What kind of masonry projects can you handle?
Wes, no job is too big, no job is too small. We can do renovations, new construction, outdoor fireplaces, fire pits, brick landscape borders.
Well, when you came out to my house, you did both the insulation and masonry at the same time. You guys did rock for me, you did brick for me, and you insulated my house. That's usually done at the same time that you're building a house.
Absolutely. It really capitalizes on 2 services you need at the same time, and you can get one company to handle both of those.
Philip with Eagle Insulation will come out, do your installation. He'll do your masonry. They do a great job. They guarantee your work. Check out more online at insulatedwitheagle.com and schedule your free examination today. 256-755-1556.
Thanks, Wes.
Sitting here with my good friend, Scooter Rambo from Rambo Marine. Scooter, you've been in business for 27 years. What sets you apart from other dealers?
Well, Wes, probably the biggest thing is that when we tell a customer that we're going to have their boat ready on Tuesday, it's ready to go. We try to make sure we always deliver what we promise to the customers, because the key to our success has been the service that we offer, the way we take care of people, and they can have the confidence in us that when they do business with Rambo Marine, we will always be there.
Dockside service. Who else does that?
Well, sir, hardly anybody does it well. We do that. That's, again, one of our strengths. We can handle most repairs right there at their dock. Some things have to go back to the shop. The main thing is, one way or another, if it can't be done there, we'll take it to our store. We'll get it fixed. It'll be back there. It'll be ready for them when they're ready to go.
Rambo Marine, how do you get in touch with you?
Best way, Wes, RamboMarine.com has got phone numbers, hours, all of our contact info, emails as well.
Contact Scooter today.
This segment of Talkin Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama, located online at universitykia.com. He's bald, he's opinionated, and he's here.
You're morally reprehensible, vulgar, insensitive, selfish, stupid. You have no taste, a lousy sense of humor, and you smell.
Listen to Feinbaum, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Here we go. Speaking of University Kia, Drew and I will be at University Kia on Saturday from 10 to 11:30, getting you ready for both Alabama and Auburn's A-Day games. Of course, you can hear the Alabama A-Day game right here on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Kickoff set for noon. And one of the guys that will be honored at halftime, or at the end of the game, I should say, is Mac Jones, because on Saturday they're going to honor the national championship team after the A-Day game. Mac Jones, of course, his name being mentioned pretty much 24/7 these days. Doesn't matter where, on ESPN, San Francisco, Columbus, Ohio. His name gets mentioned everywhere because everybody wants to know if the San Francisco 49ers are going to take Mac Jones third, or are they going to look somewhere else? It's the hot topic right now, no matter where you are in the college football world, pro football world, draft world, wherever. Kirk Herbstreit yesterday, Drew, here's his thoughts on Mac Jones.
Spent a lot of time with Sark this past year talking about Mac and the offense and how different it was. You know, when they had Tua there, and Tua had ridiculous numbers, and obviously was one of the greatest quarterbacks that Alabama's ever had. And they ran a lot of RPO with they had talented receivers, they had great backs, and Tua was really comfortable being able to get his eyes on that second level defender. And it was just a rhythm that they went to a lot. And they went into 2020 thinking that they would be similar to that. And then as time went on in practice, you know, being shorthanded because of from a timing standpoint, they were learning as the season was going where Mac Jones really had a chance to take off. And as the season went on, Sark was like, man, this offense could not be any more different. He's like, yeah, we still will mix in RPO. He goes, but we're pounding the ball with Najee, and we're play action right now. When we're moving Smitty around, Devontae Smith and Jalen Waddle, the other first rounder, he was out most of the year, so they had to come up with some creativity. And Mac Jones, all through that, never wavered. They adjusted things every week. They changed things around, and they were allowed to do that because his ability to understand the offense. And I mean, it was like Sark was the guy, and Mac Jones, who's brilliant. If you look at his since he's been in high school, is the way he takes his academics serious. He's just gifted in that way. But he really takes the time to study the football playbook and understanding film and how things work. And so he was right there in alignment with Sark on every adjustment and everything that they did. And his accuracy on top of that, with the ability to make quick decisions, it's just special. It's the best way to describe it. And I don't care that he had a lot of talent around him or the guys were wide open. The kid distributed the ball to people who were open, made good decisions, and consistently was accurate. And he's got an assassin's mindset on the field. I mean, he wants to eliminate you, much like Joe Burrow the year before. So there's again a lot there to fall in love with and look at the potential of what he can be.
The neck up, everybody. The neck up. That's what quarterbacking is. Accuracy and decision-making and the neck up. It's not, oh, my Lord, he just ran a 4.5 40. Oh, my Lord, shutdown man said he threw 65 yards across his body against air. That's not what quarterbacking is. That's why he's a moron. Yes, that's what I called you, you gutless coward. You don't want to call into the show. You want to, call people out, say they're not at scrimmages and things when you'd be surprised at, who might have eyes where you don't know. But, if you want to call me out and say Bill things, I'll just call you out on the air. You're a doofus. And so I'm just saying, from the neck up, Mac's the best quarterback in the draft. There is no question. Okay. Yeah, there's people with stronger arms. There's people that can run faster and they're bigger. I understand that. But that's not what quarterbacking is. Okay? I mean, a quarterback is somebody that has to distribute the ball to the playmakers. And that's what Mac can do.
Would you not put Trevor Lawrence in that high category as well from the neck up?
Well, yeah. I mean, I think he's a great player. He would be my number 2 quarterback. No question about it. I mean, he's 6'6". I mean, he can run like probably a 4.6. He can throw the football, 65, 70 yards. No question about it. I mean, and he's a high character kid. He's never been in one iota lick of trouble.
Right.
I mean, he's got a clean background. He played in the college football playoff 3 times. He won a championship as a true freshman. So he did a lot of great things. There's no question about it. And, if I had to rank the rest of the QBs, I would probably still rank, Fields 3rd because I think he played in 2 playoffs. He has got extreme mobility. He didn't throw a lot of interceptions, though it concerns me, how he played against Northwestern and Penn State last year. Didn't play as well. But my questions, I'd probably have Zach Wilson 4th, and the main reason there is it's obvious that Zach Wilson has physical tools, but he didn't play against great competition. And I will say, before he, had this great year last year against tomato cans, was anybody mentioning him as a great prospect? They weren't. He was good at BYU, and they won games, and he was definitely on the pros' radar, but I don't know really how good he is. And then, of course, 5th would be Trey Lance because he has no question in my mind got the least amount of experience and not played against high-level comp. Even if he might have the best physical tools of all of them, I still have questions about it.
All right, here is Kirk Herbstreit on the 49ers and Mac Jones. Kirk, your thoughts?
By this position, because every year we look at these quarterbacks that are potentially going to go in the first round and the guys that end up going, and every year, like you're bringing up Matt Leinart. If you would have told me that Matt Leinart wouldn't have had a better NFL career, I would have said, coming out of USC, are you crazy? This guy's played in an NFL style of offense. He's going to be just fine. And it obviously didn't work out to the level in which he had hoped. I went back and I looked since 2009. This doesn't include last year's crop of Burrow in that group. But if you go back since 2009, there have been 33 quarterbacks selected in the first round. And I would say about 10 of those 33 would be considered not to be average to below average or bust. So you're talking about 2 out of 3 don't make it, don't live up to it. And yet, as we sit here right now in April, and we got an ESPN show that I'm a part of, and we're excited about Mac Jones and even Kyle Trask, and obviously the big names that everybody's talking about with Trevor Lawrence and Zach Wilson and all these guys, Justin Fields. And if you go by 2009 to this year, up to last year, 2/3 of these guys aren't going to make it. And so it makes you think, number one, why is it so hard to evaluate this position? Why do so many guys not make it? When you look at them on paper and you break their film down and you think, oh, man, this guy's definitely going to make it. And we're only, analysts, people on the outside. I mean, these NFL scouts, these NFL GMs, these head coaches, they lose their jobs because they miss on quarterbacks, and yet they continually miss. So I don't know why it is. I am fascinated that guys have found ways to, instead of taking Pat Mahomes from Texas Tech and making him learn Andy Reid's West Coast offense that he's been running forever. Andy Reid said, you know what? I'm tired of trying to figure out these college quarterbacks that are all in a shotgun running some kind of air raid offense. I'm going to adjust my offense to Pat Mahomes.
Some interesting thoughts there from Kirk Herbstreit. Some eye-opening thoughts there.
Well,
on the draft numbers.
I will say this about Andy Reid: he's about the best there is.
Right.
When it comes to evaluating quarterbacks and putting them in position to succeed. I mean, he made Michael Vick the comeback player of the year. When he went to the Eagles, he drafted. Everybody said Ricky Williams. You got to take Ricky Williams. No.
And the Saints gave everything.
Yeah.
Including the farm to get Ricky Williams.
Yeah, but he drafted Donovan McNabb, and they didn't win a Super Bowl, but they reached one. Right. And Donovan McNabb had a borderline Hall of Fame career. Okay. He was a tremendous football player. And I thought he was a tremendous football player at Syracuse. And then he traded for Alex Smith. Alex was very productive in his system, but he saw something in Mahomes. That was the most stunning part of the draft. I knew Mahomes was one of these dudes, kind of like Mac Jones, who, he
skyrocketed up the board.
But I don't think anybody still had him going in the top 10. And remember, Kansas City traded back into the top 10 to take him because of the extensive work that Andy Reid did, because he's not lazy like Dan Mullen. He can really coach. And that's not recruiting, but it's work, really breaking it down, understanding quarterbacks, because Dan Mullen can develop quarterbacks as well. They just mentioned his protege with the Gators in that segment. But I'm just saying that Kyle Trask. But I just think Andy Reid does a great job of evaluating them. He's probably the best there is. That's why he'll be in the Hall of Fame. He finally got his Super Bowl. They lost this one. But good Lord, they had one offensive lineman left and they're playing against the Bucs. But I'm just saying, but a lot of the reason these quarterbacks fail though, and Herb Street was asking why that happens. These quarterbacks don't get surrounded by any players. The teams that draft them do a piss poor job of surrounding them with talent.
And lots of times these teams that draft these quarterbacks, like you look at the top three now, the New York Jets have been historically awful. They got a quarterback. He's almost doomed.
If I was Zach Wilson, I'd be scared to death. I wouldn't want to be going number 2 to the Jets.
The Jacksonville Jaguars. Recent success. They have not built a team.
Yeah, they had a little success there 3 or 4 years ago, but it didn't last. We'll see what Urban Meyer can do surrounding Trevor Lawrence, because that's what that's going to be the key. You're going to get him, but you've got to then surround him. That's what the Dolphins have to do with Tua now. They got rid of boat anchor Gailey, who, in my opinion, changed the offense when one quarterback was in there. They need to it's exactly what Herb Street just said. Build an offense to Tua's strengths, but now they've got all these draft picks. You got to hit on them. You got to surround him with some talent, because that wide receiver core in the room in Miami is trash. It's not any good. It's garbage, except for Parker. He's a pretty good football player. The rest of them are just a bunch of tomato cans who can't make any plays.
Right.
And Gesicki's a pretty good tight end. But, you need to get some outside wide receivers that can really make plays, whether it be free agency or whether it be, of course, with all these draft picks they've been able to accumulate.
All right. We will hear more from Kirk Herbstreit a little bit later in the show. We got some more thoughts.
By Kirk, I think he brings up some really good points.
No, he really does. And today, Mel Kiper Jr. will be on a call as well. And he's going to give thoughts on the draft as well, because Mel Kiper has lauded Mac Jones. And really, Drew, I know we talked a lot about Tua and going to the Dolphins. Would he go to the Dolphins or not? But has Mac Jones been the most talked about Alabama player coming out of the draft in a while? Because it seems like...
Well, he's polarizing because he only had one full year as a starter.
Right.
He set records. When you look at his film, it doesn't lie, but there's still some doubt. He did move from, when we talked to Mike Detillier several weeks ago, a couple months ago, or really during the season, we asked him, what kind of prospect is Mac Jones? And he said mid-round. But it's obviously moved up. And I want to ask Mike, what has moved him up in everybody's mind? And in Mike's mind, where does Mike slot him?
Yeah.
I respect his opinion. He does the work. He studies. He talks to so many people and knows football inside and out. So looking forward to talking to him in the next hour. And also
40.
To our good friend Brent Beaird, who's coming into the Rocket City tomorrow to go to A-Day, get some of his thoughts around the SEC. We need to catch up with him.
And Dan Mullen.
Yeah, and Dan Mullen.
And Florida State. Big news, though, with Florida State. Big news there in Tallahassee, and we'll explain why, and Brent can help us out with that.
20.
This is Wes Neighbors talking to Chris Haygood of Bob Wallace Appliance. Chris, what sets you apart from other appliance dealerships?
Wes, these appliances are going into the most used room in your house, your kitchen. The way we have these appliances displayed, it's easy for you to visualize how they'll look in your home. Wes, what sets us apart is the people. They're well trained. In fact, they live and breathe these appliances. And if you need service, you'll really appreciate our parts department.
Contact Bob Wallace Appliance at 256-533-2121.
When you call most roofing companies, all you'll hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming. At Fleming Roofing and Restoration, we're focused on your needs, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement. Folks around here have trusted Fleming since 1965 for all their residential and commercial roofing needs. And as the area's storm damage experts, Fleming knows all the ins and outs of the insurance claims process. Log on FlemingHSV.com to schedule your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Good morning from the traffic center. Got one wreck, Pine Grove and Pettis. That one's coming in as a no injury. Just waiting on a state trooper there. Everything else this morning has looked pretty good. All the wrecks from earlier have been cleared out of the way for a while. You be careful on the rest of your trip in. We are dealing with a heavy traffic load. Routine care to heart failure. Dr. Randall Burns and the team at Huntsville Heart Specialists have the expertise to care for all matters of the heart. Doctor visits are important. Please don't put them off. Captain Nick in the North Parkway Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
The WZDX Pinpoint Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. Not a bad Thursday afternoon across the Tennessee Valley. We should get to enjoy a fair amount of afternoon sunshine. Temperatures climbing into the mid and upper 60s. We're actually going to be a little chilly as we head into the overnight. Some of the traditionally cool spots could drop into the upper 30s. Many of us are going to bottom out in the lower 40s. I expect the cloud cover to build back into North Alabama through Friday afternoon. Temperatures hanging out in the upper 50s and lower 60s, dropping into the upper 40s and lower 50s as we head into the overnight. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Brent Musburger's Action Update. Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all of your car care needs. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts today. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better prices every day.
Now, here are the latest lines from my guys in the desert. This Sunday, the Toyota Owners 400 at Richmond Raceway. Martin Truex, the odds-on favorite, plus 400. Denny Hamlin at plus 600. Brad Keselowski at plus 700. Joey Logano and Kyle Larson each at plus 800 odds. Baseball futures updated this week. The New York Yankees, the favorite to win the American League pennant at 14-5 odds. The White Sox at 19-4. The defending American League champs, the Rays, had opened at 5-1 but slipped to 14-1. Dodgers favored to win the NLCS 33-20. The Padres at 9-2 and the Mets at 27-4. UFC 261 is scheduled a week from Saturday. Kamaru Usman and Jorge Masvidal Part 2. Masvidal plus 300 on the money line. Usman minus 400.
I'm Trey Westerberg, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Log on today, 977ESPN.com. And Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now. 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
Brent ready, mic's on.
As always, this segment of Talking Ball brought to you by our fine folks at Terrell Technical Services Incorporated. They offer that full line of environmental health and safety services, including industrial hygiene, asbestos, mold and bacterial services, Legionella testing, water management plans, lead-based paint inspection assessments and abatement plans, environmental site assessments, LEED certified testing, and more. Their staff holds all U.S. EPA accreditations and nationally recognized certifications and credentials to necessitate your project to completion. Give Terrell Technical Services a call today at 256-461-9278 to discuss your environmental health or safety needs. Again, 256-461-9278. And before the break, we were talking a lot about the NFL draft. We were talking about Mac Jones. Where do you slot him? But coming up on Saturday, as we've mentioned, 7 of the 14 SEC teams will have their spring scrimmages, including Alabama, including Auburn, Florida not having one. They're doing what you call, I guess you can just say, a closed indoor practice type of thing. They're not going through it. But our next guest can help us kind of break some of those down because he's going to be in attendance for one of them.
Yes, he's going to be coming back to his native state of Alabama. It's going to be great to have our next guest. Is a part of a day for the University of Alabama covering that event, but he's going to have his ear to the ground as he does around the SEC. It's great to catch up with our next guest. Of course, he is a Heisman Trophy voter, and he's the college football analyst for First Coast News in Jacksonville, Florida. Also, you can read his work, collegesportsnotebook.com, and he co-hosts College Sports Today with Terry Norvell, and that's our great friend Brent Beaird. Brent, welcome back to the show. You're Drew and Scott. How are you?
Well, I'm doing well and excited about being up there. I'm actually flying into Huntsville, which I've never done. So
nice.
It's my maiden voyage with that. And by the way, you think Brother Brent Beaird will be able to find me when I get in?
We hope so.
Shouldn't have a problem.
So the good thing is he said the airport's 5 minutes away from him, guys. So that should be able to help. But yes, as Scott said, it's an exciting weekend. And look, that Bama being the only game on ESPN and the other is on ESPN Network Plus. We've had this discussion down here, and I'll mention this briefly, is the day is coming when these athletic directors are looking for another revenue stream, and they're going to end up charging the fans, instead of $5, maybe $10, getting a better TV contract for a spring game and actually playing another team. So I could see in the next 5 years maybe something coming of that.
Yeah, and what do you heading to Tuscaloosa? First, we'll start with there before we go swing to the Sunshine State and some other storylines. But what are you looking for as you come to watch this A-Day game for the Alabama as they defend their title?
I think the fascinating thing is the talk about this defense being the best one in 5 years or something of that nature. I mean, it's probably pretty smart that they'll put a non-contact jersey on the quarterbacks because the Will Andersons and Chris Allens are going to be able to get after a lot of people. I mean, look, if somebody's sitting on the fence about coming to this game or not, and they're an Alabama fan, I mean, there's too much to see, I think, not to be able to do that with this depth at running back. You've got new wide receivers. Have they retooled on the offensive line? I just think there are a lot of questions, including obviously the quarterbacks and what you want to see out of Bryce Young and Tyson and this group, not to be able to either watch it or be in person.
Right. Obviously, it is the quarterbacks because remember last year we didn't get a spring game.
Right.
So we didn't get to see Bryce Young. I mean, we got to see him in regular season play, but we didn't get to see any of the other quarterbacks at all because of no spring game.
Yeah, and that's interesting because Mac Jones from your area, nobody had seen the progress he had made until we saw him against Missouri. Because there was no scrimmages that were made available in the fall either. So it was really interesting to kind of see that development because I know you're very familiar with Mac and where he played at the Bowles School, but it's been an unbelievable rise for him, Brent.
I don't know if I have ever seen a quarterback that has improved to the point that he did last year. I mean, he was almost an afterthought going into the season and then becomes basically certainly one of the most valuable players on the team and in the SEC. So learning from two great coaches in Corky Rogers and Nick Saban. But look, people can criticize his athleticism all they want to, but number one, he makes good decisions. Number two, he puts the ball between the numbers and in the hands of the receivers. And I don't care how complicated this game gets on the next level, if you're accurate, you're going to play, aren't you guys?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes, absolutely. No doubt about it.
Well, Brent, what outside of the quarterback spot, we've talked a lot about the defense for this Alabama team and how good they're going to be. Last year it was the offense that really set the pace. and the tone this year. It looks like the defense probably is going to set that tone and pace early until the offense finds its stride, we think. What other kind of intangibles are you going to be looking for on that offensive side of the ball besides the quarterback spot?
I want to see. So certainly, we've heard a lot about these running backs. I mean, we know Brian Robertson is going to be one of the stalwarts in the league. Rodell Williams. We've heard a lot about him. Kyle Edwards is another guy who has done well. And look, I know a lot of people want to see Bryce Young. So do I. But I want to see Paul Tyson. I want to see Jalen Milroe and see how those guys have done. Obviously, there's a slew of really good wide receivers. How much better has Slade Bolden gotten? We know John Mechie would be limited, not doing anything. Javon Baker, Xavier Williams, Billingsley again, who may end up being what, guys? The next Kyle Pitts in the SEC. So plenty to watch on Saturday.
No question. And then I know you've got your ear to the ground around the Sunshine State. Scott brought it up as we went to break. But talk about this huge spring for Florida State and this unbelievable story that's unfolding at the quarterback position.
Yeah, they had their spring game over the weekend, and look, they're actually going to be, I think, maybe significantly better. Now they're not going to beat Clemson and win the ACC, but they've got a nice quarterback battle. Jordan Travis is more of a dual threat guy, but the marvelous story here is Mackenzie Milton coming over from UCF and actually being effective. He had his best practice in the spring game. He was 6 of 11 for 96. They've also got a freshman wide receiver, Malik McClain, who's really turned some heads. Lawrence Toafila, who is a tailback, is, I think, really going to be one of the better backs in the league. They had 13 quarterback sacks. And again, with the quarterbacks, you're basically playing two-hand tag, so keep that in mind there. But, and you guys will remember this name, Jermaine Johnson, who a lot of Georgia fans have probably even forgotten by now, is a transfer to FSU, 2 sacks in a quarterback hurry, and then he had a minor injury. Listen, guys, they think Jermaine Johnson could be a monster for them this season.
Well, obviously, things are trending upwards for Florida State. We go back a year, 2 years ago, and it could not get any worse for anything with Florida State, whether it be on the field, off the field, no matter what. And now off the field, they release artist renderings of a new football facility, for the practice side of things. Things seem to be trending upwards for Florida State.
Scott, it's huge. They've needed this for years, and they've gone with this through basically 3 different football coaches, and they finally have got it on the drawing board, and they're ready to put shovel to dirt sometime soon. They're making a massive, obviously, fundraising effort in order to get this done. People might assume that Florida State has everything they need. The truth of the matter is they really don't. And this is some guys, I'm telling you, they and this is a story on another day, and I know you probably know this, but one of the reasons Jimbo left, he went to A&M, is because he really wanted to get a lot of this done when he was there, and they either could not do it or would not do it. And it was really a combination of both. And again, the thing we forget is Florida State simply does not have the number of alumni boosters that, say, a Florida does. So it just takes them a little longer to get some of these things done. But you've got to have the facilities and the resources. So I think this is huge for them. And I still think Mike Norvell will end up winning for them if they'll be patient with him.
And what is your take on Dan Mullen and the Gators? I know I spent the first hour railing on Mullen for not wanting to recruit well enough. I mean, he's wanting to Zoom now for everything, even with the dead period being being lifted, and talking about, because I mean, we're talking about them reinstating the bump rule and Nick Saban outworking these coaches, and Dan Mullen's looking for ways not to recruit. But how is the spring gone at Florida?
Well, I can tell you, and Gator fans are not happy about any of that at all. And look, they know this Gator staff, for whatever reason, really does not like to recruit. Now, they've made some changes to their credit, particularly on the defensive side of the ball. They still have Todd Grantham, but look, the Gator spring practice really went under the radar. They did not have a spring game, which I think they really owed that to their fans, and it was unfortunate that they did not do that. They came up with the reasoning being that Ben Hill Griffin was a testing site, vaccine site. Look, I'm glad it is, but at the same time, there are a lot of things you can do in a stadium that holds 90,000 people. But again, they're trying to find a quarterback in Emory Jones, Anthony Richardson also. I think they will be a good team. Now, for your listeners, obviously Alabama comes to the Swamp this year, and still Alabama just still has a better roster than Florida does. But I think part of the problem with this with Mullen is flirting with the NFL. That did not happen, and there's still some Florida fans who are not real happy by any stretch of the imagination in blowing that LSU game, and people still need to remember if they had won that LSU game, they go into the SEC championship game with Alabama with I don't think they would have won, but with a chance to go to the SEC to go to the playoffs. So, and then they get into the bowl game, and as Dan Mullen says, he calls his team his scout team did not play real well because half of them went to the NFL. So, needless to say, without belaboring the point, Gator fans still pretty cautious with Dan Mullen.
I don't think there's any doubt about that. What about on the other side of the cocktail party rivalry? What about Athens, Georgia, and Kirby Smart? JT Daniels, probably on paper anyway, the best quarterback returning in the league.
Yeah, I would agree. And again, the typical Georgia spring hype machine is spinning wildly as it normally is this time of year. They had their second scrimmage over the weekend. They've got a good running back crew in Kendall Melton. James Cook did well. Demetrius Robinson had a punt return. My stars, he needs to do something while he's there.
Good grief, yeah.
Frankly, Carson Beck could be the backup, the kid from Jacksonville. Now, look, and I know you commented on this, Tyke Smith, the transfer from West Virginia, is really huge for them. Third-team All-American, not just third-team conference, third-team All-American. So he's going to fill a big void with them, I believe. But with their spring game coming up this weekend, that will certainly be interesting to see where they are going. But I can tell you the disappointment from last year is just evaporated into the wind, and there is. And obviously, this is a big Georgia town, along with a big Florida town, too, with Florida, Georgia here. A lot of confidence that those Bulldogs will win the East again this year.
No question about it. And, of course, we would be remiss because Alabama opens against them. It's kind of been – I haven't heard a lot of buzz and been under the radar, but headed into year 3 for Manny Diaz. What's the outlook for Miami right now?
I think there's some quiet confidence that they will probably be better than they have been. They had their second scrimmage on last Friday night. Now, Derek King is rehabbing. Now, pay attention to this. He may not be back for Alabama. Yeah. And truthfully, if he's iffy, that might be a good decision on Manny Diaz's part. So Tyler Van Dyke and Jake Garcia were kind of battling for that backup role. And again, they got Charleston Rambo from Oklahoma as a wide receiver, and he's done well for them. D. Wiggins, Mike Harley, those guys have done well. In the first scrimmage, the defensive line dominated. In the second scrimmage, the offensive line did better. Look, Alabama will win that game because Alabama has the better roster. Now, probably the best thing they did was to get Rhett Lashley to come back another year as offensive coordinator. And the thing that really hurt them is they lost a lot of their better rush ends in defensive linemen. This Rasul or Rasal kid.
Yeah, that opted out. Yep.
Yes. Is frankly probably was their best player all in all. So, look, I mean, can they give Alabama some trouble with their offense? Yeah, I think that's possible. Now, and guys like Bubba Bolden on defense, DJ Ivy at cornerback, and about both those guys being defensive backs, I think could be pretty good. Although that they've got a really good kicker, but and that will be a bit of a challenge for a while. But and frankly, I think it's a pivotal year for Miami. I think we will know at the end of this year whether or not Manny Diaz is going to be the guy for them.
Well, let's talk about the real team in Florida, the team that has the newest coach, the team that took the spring game by its own hands, did its own jersey thing. I mean, Gus Malzahn in UCF. I mean, is there any more team in Florida that's creating a buzz this spring?
I'm getting a really good laugh on it from all of this stuff and all this jargon that's coming from Gus about how free and easy it is now and how he's making his own decisions, and which is frankly everything that comes out of his mouth is embarrassing Auburn right now.
Right.
What it amounts to. So, and I'm thinking, well, now Gus, correct me if I'm wrong, but you were the head coach there. Why were you not able to do these things while you were the head man at Auburn? But listen, they put up a big billboard. Have you guys seen this?
Yes.
That the distance between UCF and Gainesville, between Orlando and Gainesville, wanting to have a series with them at some point. So they will make a lot of noise with this. And again, but I tell you this. He doesn't have Kevin Steele on that staff to bail him out this time either, does he?
He does not. Great stuff from Brent Beaird. Great knowledge. We always appreciate the conversation and the time. We look forward to you flying into our community on Friday. It'll be great to see you. But let everybody know they can connect with you and follow your work.
I appreciate that greatly at Brent Beaird, Beaird, First Coast News, and also College Sports Day with Terry Norvell. And my parting ending here is the ESPN FBI top 25 rankings. I've been asked about this 2 or 3 times this week about Mississippi State being in the top 10 of the ESPN FPI rankings. And my reply to that is, look, I love Leach, and I do think they will be better. But remember, they won 3 games last year. One of those was against Vanderbilt. But my reply was, well, whoever made this up, were they drinking at lunch when they came up with this, or what?
That's good stuff.
It certainly was eyebrow raising, that's for sure. Well, thank you, Brent. We look forward to seeing you this weekend.
Can't wait, guys. Take care.
All right, thanks. All right, good stuff there. We got good stuff coming up after the break when we come back, Drew. It's been a while since we've checked in with our next guest, but man, oh man, got a lot to talk about with him, and he's good.
Yes, Mike Detillier talking NFL draft next. Don't want to miss this conversation on Talkin Ball on ESPN 97.7 Zone.
You're listening to Talkin Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
They have upgraded that wreck at Pettis Road in Pine Grove to an injury type, so they're working it. Everything else looking pretty good this morning. Had several wrecks earlier, but they've been out of the way for a while now. You be careful on your trip in. Don't forget 36 in Morgan County now closed from 67 to I-65 for bridge replacement. Snelling Medical has temp and career openings for certified medical assistants. Snelling, 382-4000. Captain Nick in the North Parkway Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
McCurry Motors is your car and van rental headquarters. You can rent the vehicle you need today. Family in town, sporting event, church function, no matter what your need, McCurry Motors has you covered with a wide selection of cars and vans available for rent. They have 12-passenger Mercedes Sprinter vans, 12-passenger Ford Transit vans, 15-passenger Ford Transit vans, and 15-passenger Chevrolet Express vans. They have 2 locations, Highway 72 in Athens or Max Luther Drive in Huntsville.
I love overpriced stuff. Avocados, designer t-shirts, artisanal water, you name it. That's why I get my internet from the other guys. Paying more for the same stuff. What could be better?
Wow is better, because for just $29.99 per month, we give you the super fast, reliable internet you need and the awesome customer service you deserve. Switch to Internet 100 for just $29.99 per month. And now, learn how to get $150 on us at Huawei.com. Limited to new customers with auto-pay and paperless billing. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra. Offer subject to change. Restrictions and terms apply.
Hi, my name is Dan Aldridge. I'm here to let you know about the Aldridge Law Firm and the soon-to-be-announced Legal Town Center. I've been practicing law in Alabama since 1984, and I also practice in Tennessee. And I'm from North Alabama, and I'm here to represent you and take care of your legal needs. For many of us, hiring an attorney is not high on the priority list, and maybe a little scary, but it's something that we all need at some point. So by all means, do your homework. And if you need representation for car accident, wrongful death, medical malpractice, nursing home abuse, or estate planning, or any other matter, just give us a call at 256-534-3188. And you can email me at Dan, that is Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. God bless America.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
This is Steve Moulton from The Drive. Join us this afternoon from 5 to 7 with Wes Neighbors and me. Now back to Talkin Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Mike's
It's 8:25 here on a Thursday morning, 97.7 ESPN's The Zone's Talking Ball. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond with you until 9 a.m. Our time is running short. Got about 30 minutes left, just a little bit over 30, but we need to talk some NFL draft. We heard from Kirk Herbstreit in the first hour on Mac Jones. Some really eye-opening stuff there about Mac Jones and about these top quarterbacks being drafted, how many have success rates, how many go on to future success. Interesting stuff, but let's dive a little bit further into the draft a little bit as far as expectations go on when and where for some of these guys.
Yeah, we want this next guest. We love his opinions and his knowledge of the game. He's the best there is, in my opinion. Of course, he has the M&D Draft Report. He's a part of the, the SaintsReport.com covering the Saints News Network. But he's also a big part of WWL 870 Radio in New Orleans, Louisiana. He's a college and football analyst that to me is the conversations we have with him are always eye-opening. He always gives us tidbits and knowledge that no one else does, and that's, of course, Mike Detillier. Mike, welcome back to Huntsville. You're with Drew Scott. Good morning to you, sir.
Morning, Mike.
Good morning, guys.
Morning, and I remember when we were talking to you in the middle of this past football season, and Mac Jones was just starting his climb, and at that time, much like Joe Burrow, you had told us he was a middle-round draft choice at that point. But as you told us, you did have the caveat that we'll see how things continue to evolve. Where do you have Mac now, and how? And for our listeners, in your mind, if he's gone up your chart, what was the key to it?
Well, the key to it, that one, he got a full year under him. We just saw a small glimpse of him. Where was Joe Burrow in 2018?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, he was come on, if people want to tell you the truth, he wasn't even on most people's radar.
At least we got to see Mac toward the end, when Tua went down. And the most impressive thing about him is his accuracy skills. And he's got quick twitch knowledge of where to go with the football. And either you got it or you don't. That's nothing. You can't teach him to do that. And he knows where to go with the football. And so he's going to be a top 10 pick. I think the big question mark is exactly where in the top 10. It is a premium, and quarterbacks do get overdrafted, but it's in this league. Years ago, we had a show. Hank Stram and I and Buddy DiLiberto did a show, and Hank used to always say, there's two type of teams in the NFL. Teams that have quarterbacks and teams looking for one. There's right. No in between. Yeah. Either you got one or you're looking for one. And there are still, a ton of teams looking for that quarterback position. So in this season of misinformation, it's amazing how it has run the gambit. But no one has made a bigger jump from the start of the season until today than Mac Jones. And it's seemingly like that every year there's a quarterback that makes that run. And we saw it with Joe a year ago. Kyler Murray, who everyone thought would play pro baseball, makes the run, and he becomes the first pick in the draft. Burrow becomes the first pick in the draft. And, Mac's going to be a top 10 pick. So it's not a surprise to me because we see it evolve. But it's part of the process here of where exactly those quarterbacks will fall. And I think in an unprecedented run, you will see 4 quarterbacks selected with the first 4 picks. Wow. It's happened twice. Well, 3 getting selected, but I think you'll see 4 because I think there will be a team that will move up to that 4th spot to get the 4th quarterback.
And that's been the biggest talk. I mean, obviously, one is Trevor Lawrence. I mean, that one is, you just ink that one, not even pencil it in, ink it in. But as fast as Mac Jones has risen up the board, are we safe to say that Justin Fields has gone the opposite direction since the end of the season?
The misconception with Justin is, what are you grading him on? And who's doing this?
Yeah.
Who's giving him those negative grades? I can tell you exactly where it's coming from. It's coming from the agent community who feed people on these national outlets information and they regurgitate it like they the ones doing all the film study on it. And that's not the case. So did he have a couple of rough games during the year? Iowa, Northwestern, yes. But Justin Fields is one heck of a football player. I would have no qualms about picking him 3 if I was San Francisco. None on his body of work. The other misperception on Fields is the fact that, he's a big-time runner and throws everything off the waggle. That's not correct. He's really a pocket quarterback. Now, he's got movement skills, but he is really accurate throwing the football sitting in the pocket, throwing it. You got people who I think watch but don't watch football. They watch it for a certain extent, but they don't watch it like a scout would watch it or somebody involved with a team would watch it. But again, when you see guys make this type of kind of fall off or run up the chart, a lot of it is agent driven. I'm just telling you, I've been doing this for over 30 years. I see it. I get it. Some people, so-and-so wrote this big report. Well, I got the report 2 days ago. I got it from his agent. They just write in the same article that the agent sent an email or a text on. So you got to be careful with that, falling for that sort of trick. And I think Justin Fields is a heck of a football player. Now, the knock they have on him is, he's not real good sometimes with his second and third reads. There isn't a quarterback coming out of college that's not like that. Come on. You pinning that on him? So, again, who is saying this and where are they getting their information from? They're getting it exactly from where, I know they're getting it from. They're getting it from an agent who's trying to enhance their own player. And you are the mouthpiece for that agent.
Yeah, great stuff from Mike Detillier. And Mike, from your perspective, I always respect your rankings. If you're ranking these top 5 QBs, because we think there's a great chance that 5 of them are going to go in round 1, how do they look on your board right now?
On my board is Trevor Lawrence, it's Zach, it's Justin Fields, Trey Lance,
then
Mac Jones.
Okay. Very interesting.
And that's how I think most boards are.
Okay.
If you want to be honest, I think most boards are like that. But, okay, Mac Jones isn't running for president. He doesn't need the Electoral College to get him to be the 3rd pick. All he needs is one team to say, I'm your guy. Okay, and that's just the way it is. He doesn't need to pile up state after state, team after team. All he needs is one team. And that team could well be San Francisco. I'm not totally sold that the 49ers can be in. When I went to print with this on the Friday, I had been told by somebody who I trust out west, and he has given me some good information on the 49ers and been accurate, I would say. If he was a passing grade, he'd be an A student. He told me, no question, that John Lynch wanted Trey Lance.
Wow.
And now it has swung. Now, is there a little bit of division here? And which sometimes will happen. I have an older former coach live across the street from me. He was the backup quarterback to the Cleveland Browns for Otto Graham. So he always says, you know what that tells everybody? I'm an old man. So he became a coach and a scout for the Cleveland Browns, for Paul Brown, and then later for Paul when he was in Cincinnati, and he coached over 40 years afterwards. So he always tells me, Mike, I've been in these rooms where scouts, they fight and debate over the same guy. He said, you got coaches and you got scouts, and they arguing over the same person because they see something different in everyone. It's not everybody's got the same opinion on a particular player. And it's funny how, he did this back in the late 50s and 60s, and we doing that still today.
Well, Mike, we saw Trey Lance play one game this past fall on TV. I mean, I tried to watch as much as I can, but I don't know a lot about Trey Lance. What makes Trey Lance so good that they have him so high? I mean, we only got to see him one game last fall.
Yeah, I think it's the body of work of the year before where he was a dominating player at North Dakota State, and I got to see him play quite a bit. As a matter of fact, one of the schools, they ended their run in the championship-type series was Nicholls State, who was in the playoffs and got to play him. And so spent a lot of time watching Trey, and he is a one-year starter, 1 year, one game. But, man, great athlete, really sharp young man. Did not throw an interception as a redshirt freshman. Did not throw one. So he's accurate with his throws. He can make a lot of plays with his feet out on the move. Great leader. You can see that he's got a certain presence of the game that's there. To look at one game, and I didn't think he played well against the Falcons, I'll be honest. I thought he was trying to press things a little bit in that game, which is natural. He knew he was only going to play one game. That was it. North Dakota had nobody else on the schedule. And so I think he wanted to look good in that game. And I thought he pressed a little too much with some of his throws. But athletically, mentally, physically, he has got all the tools that you're looking for. What made sense to me when I went to press with it that Friday was they have the bridge player in San Francisco for 2021 in Jimmy Garoppolo. So now you would have a year, so to speak, of a red shirt with Kyle Shanahan. who does a great job with quarterbacks. And I thought it was very similar to what we saw a few years back with Alex Smith and Patrick Mahomes. I thought it was extremely similar in that manner. So it made sense to me at that point to say, okay, if the GM likes him, and from what I saw the year before, where he was a big-time player, anybody who watched North Dakota State play, you came away with the wow factor. And so you can understand it. The one game against Central Arkansas, he struggled, and I thought he pressed a lot. And a lot of his passes went a little high. He sailed them because I think he was trying to look good in that game. It wasn't the calm Trey Lance that I had saw the year before, where he took total control of a football game. And he beat you not only with his arm, he beat you with his ability. If you came after him with pressure, he was going to get away, and he was going to throw the football on the move or take off and run with it, which is today's NFL. It's the biggest concern I have about Mac and also Kyle Trask when I watch him, is the fact that how quickly can they get away from pressure, and then you get beat up, like what's happened to Garoppolo in San Francisco. Okay, he's not a movement guy. He's a pocket quarterback, and he's gotten beat up behind a really good offensive line. The days of the just standard pocket quarterbacks, isn't that a dying breed, guys? Brady still does it, and Matt Ryan still can do it, but the Mannings have retired. Phillip Rivers is gone in retirement. Drew Brees is going in retirement. And Drew had a little bit of movement skills, too. Drew's a really good athlete. And yet, today you look at the game, the way the pressure's coming from out wide or right up the middle, you got to move around. Because if you don't, you get hurt. You get beat up. And it's happening to Garoppolo in front of our very eyes. And that's what's the biggest concern for me with a guy like Kyle Trask, who really doesn't have much movement skills. Mac's got better movement skills than Kyle. So when you get that pocket quarterback, you understand that the game is not all about edge pressure. It's also about pressure up the middle. And can you get away from it? Because they'll find that flaw in you. They'll find it and go after it and break the link off the chain.
Mm-hmm. And Mike, you think right now the pressure point in the draft is the Falcons? You think they're going to trade out and someone's going to trade up to get to snag a QB?
Yeah, I think because at that spot at 4, if it's Denver, if it's Washington, if it's a New England, that would seem to be the target area for a team looking for a quarterback. So, yes, that's what I think would happen. I think that will be the spot where some team will. And for Terry Fontenot, you're trying to rebuild Atlanta. They're not one player away on defense, okay?
Yeah.
Now, if you're the NFC South, your deal is, man, deal that thing out of there, because I don't want to have to deal with, if you pick Kyle Pitts, then I got to go up against Ridley and Julio and Pitts, twice a year. So, because I think if you keep it 4, Pitts is the obvious pick for Atlanta, even though they need defense. But that's not a defensive player that you're getting value for at 4. It's really Pitts for Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I deal out if I can move down a few spots and get me a couple of picks, because I need players on defense if I'm Atlanta. I'm not one player away. I'm multiple players away. And Terry understands that very, very well. That you're gonna need some guys on that defensive side of the football.
Yeah, there's no question about it. You're going to need to revamp that side of the ball for sure. It looks
you
like
need pass rushers.
Yeah,
I mean, because that's the thing when you play Atlanta, they haven't gotten a pass rush.
No, their draft picks like Tack McKinley and then their free agency additions have not worked.
And so everybody points a finger at the secondary.
Mm-hmm.
Well, hell, you can't cover forever. Come on, you ain't playing in the backyard, And so You need a pass rush somewhere, and that's where they have failed to get a significant guy. Now, they have one in the middle in Grady Jarrett, who's a really good player, but they don't have an edge guy, and that becomes the issue. When you don't have that element in today's game, it shows up. And now everything is short and quick, and all these passes come out of that quarterback's hands so fast that you need to be disruptive, and they don't have that disruptive element.
Mm-hmm. And Mike, I was going to ask you too about the wide receivers. Of course, we know that it's a loaded group. Where do you see the big three going as far as Chase, Devontae Smith, and Jalen Waddle right now?
Well, exactly like you said it. I've got Jamar, Devontae, and Jalen. 1, 2, 3. Their destinations are going to be kind of put in place on kind of where this quarterbacking goes down.
Yeah.
Now, we're going to find out how much stroke Joe Burrow got real quick. Because Joe is lobbying pretty hard for Jamar Chase.
That's not surprising.
But and I get it. But, if I'm Cincinnati, I sit him down and say, hey, look, I get it. And I wrote this in my draft book, and I've said it. Jamar Chase is the best wide receiver I've seen come out of LSU in my 36 years doing this. The best. Better than Odell Beckham coming out. Better than Jarvis Landry coming out. Better than Michael Clayton coming out. There's something about him from not only talent, but his approach to the game. He is the most focused guy that, you talk to him about certain things, he doesn't stray off football. I mean, that's his focus is football. And so you got a super talented player here and a guy that's really dedicated to the game. But I need to keep Joe upright.
Right.
And so Penei Sewell gives me that chance to keep him upright. And don't give me stuff about this Riley Reef. Okay, I get it. You signed him from Minnesota. He's 33 years old. Okay, and he might give you a year to play tackle, but long term, I need somebody to protect Joe Burrow. No, because I had a talk show host tell me, well, they got Riley Reef. Okay, where I'm going with this. If you think that's long term with a 33-year-old left tackle, you need a guy that can keep him upright. So if Cincinnati, and they've not done a lot of smart things drafting, though I can say Joe Burrow and Jesse Bates are two pretty good players. They got one on offense, one on defense. If they decide, listen, we're going to pick Penei Sewell, I can get me a receiver in round 2. And to be honest with you, T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd are two pretty good receivers they have today. So I need somebody to keep him upright. Would that fling Jamar Chase to Miami and put him in a situation with Tua? And that would be interesting because, man, seemingly Miami now is in a spot where either they're going to get Kyle Pitts or they're going to get Jamar, and then they can come back with that second first-round pick and get Najee Harris. And all of a sudden now, you got your pretty doggone good offense. Tua got to turn the engine over on the car, but you got something there. You really do. And the one thing with Brian, I know he spends a lot of time evaluating players from the Southeast Conference. He's told me that, hey, listen, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure it out. Look at those teams and how they recruit. And Alabama, LSU, Georgia, Florida, they aren't in the top 15 every year. They get the best players, right? We want the best players because he comes to Louisiana line camp every year. And so I've kind of picked his brain on that, and he's been open about that fact. So, man, for Jamar, he's going to be the first one off the board, but that's going to be tricky on exactly where he ends up. And then the dominoes will fall for Devontae and for Jalen. on where they end up. Is it Philly for one of them? Does a team get a little bit antsy and maybe make a move up for Jalen Waddle? I think we fixing to find out real quickly. Now, I'd love to see one of the two in Arizona, because now you could have DeAndre Hopkins and a Devontae Smith or a Jalen Waddle on the same field with Kyler Murray.
Yeah, that would be a great combination.
Now you're pressing some.
Now you're cooking with gas.
Football chess pieces around.
Good stuff there.
Great stuff,
all
Mike.
around.
We always appreciate the time. Let everybody know they can connect with you. We look forward to speaking with you again as the draft approaches.
They can go on to MikeDetillier.com, SaintsReport.com, also on WWL.com. And so, guys, I'm going to give you all some advice that Jim Finks gave me back mid-'80s when I first started doing this.
Yep.
Don't believe a damn thing people tell you about the draft.
Wise words.
He said, man, I'm telling you, they got the biggest liars in the world about the draft. And he said, listen, I'm one of them. He said, Mike, I'm the biggest liar. They got people call me, I'll give you the interview, and I'll tell them whatever they want to hear, and I go back to doing what I want to do. Okay? Because nobody's going to tell you what they're going to do. They think this is like poker, and they hide in their hand. And he said, eventually at the end, the one thing I do know, the Greeks settled this years ago. If you got a chance to pick a really talented big man or a really talented smaller guy, you go with the big guy. Other than can that guy with Greek mythology play quarterback?
Great stuff, Mike. Have a great weekend.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Mike. Mike Detillier with some awesome stuff there. We'll kind of recap that and talk some headlines today when we come back.
Mm-hmm.
You're listening to Talkin Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
We are wrapping it up this morning with one accident showing Pine Grove and Pettis. They updated that one to an injury time, so it may take a few minutes to get it wrapped up. Everything else looks good. It's going to be a busy day across the valley, though. You be careful wherever you're headed. You can get Popeye's Shrimp Tackle Box or Popeye's Surf and Turf for $5. That's 8 crunchy buttermilk shrimp or 4 regular shrimp with a side and biscuit. Popeye's, Jordan Lane, North Parkway, and 72 at Jeff Road. Captain Nick in the Popeye's Skywatch Traffic Center.
Want to call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline? We have a new number for you. 888-256-576-4977.
Hold it!
That's 256-576-4977.
Well, what do you know?
We promise this number will be the one we keep. 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
SportsMed is the official team physicians of the Rocket City Trash Pandas. And if the pros trust SportsMed, you can too. SportsMed provides every service you might need for complete orthopedic care, specializing in orthopedic surgery, sports medicine, joint replacement, spine surgery, neurosurgery, and podiatry. And they offer their own brace shop, in-house full-body MRI, physical therapy, walk-in clinic, and so much more. 4 locations and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com.
The PGA Tour's Corn Ferry Tour is coming to the Rocket City. Join us at the Ledges for the inaugural Huntsville Championship, April 29th through May 2nd. Experience the beauty and drama of the course firsthand. Witness golf's rising stars chase their PGA Tour dreams. Cheer on the future of golf up close and personal. Tickets are on sale now at HuntsvilleChampionship.com.
Tender's Chicken is kicking. Tender's Chicken is fresh, never frozen, and hand-battered and stored. Tender's Chicken and fries are fried in totally trans-fat-free oil. Try the Big Daddy with 6 Tender's fries, slaw, garlic bread, and Tender's famous dipping sauce. Tender's is salad, wings, grilled chicken sandwiches, and more. Tender's Wind Drive just off University, Holmes Avenue 5 Points, Madison Street next to the hospital, and on Madison Boulevard, Madison. Or skip the line and order online at tenderschicken.com.
This segment of Talkin Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama, located online at universitykia.com. Follow us on Twitter, subscribe to us on our YouTube channel and Twitch. Just search 97.7 ESPN. We are 97.7 ESPN The Zone. It's time for tomorrow's headlines today with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond on 97.
Okay, 4.5 to the music. Mike's on.
I know it's for our tomorrow's headlines today, but really, I mean, tomorrow we'll be breaking down Game 1 of Alabama-Auburn on the baseball diamond. Again, first pitch set for 6 o'clock tonight, right here on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. But, Drew, I almost need to just kind of recap what we heard from Mike Detillier in that last segment about the NFL draft and how he thinks 4 quarterbacks could go in the top 4 picks.
Yeah, and I mean, there's no question about it that the quarterbacks are the value in this draft. But it's just like what Mike said. They are overdrafted in many cases. And I think in some ways there are 2 or 3 of these guys that are being, probably picked too high. But that's just the nature of the beast. It's like Hank Stram said. You either have a quarterback or you're looking for one. So, I still think that to me, I have a different, rank for mine. And that's just from watching them in college. Now, Mike's broken it down. He's, talked to so many people around the NFL. He's, of course, watched a lot of film. But I just really like, Mac and then Trevor Lawrence. And then, as I said, I like Justin Fields. There's people out there, yelling at me on Twitter acting like I don't like Fields as a player. No, I think all 5 of these guys, well, I take that back, 4. I've got 4 of them as first-round picks for me. And I definitely
Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, Mac Jones. Zach Wilson, Justin Fields. I mean, I'm a little leery of Wilson only because of the competition that he played against, but his workout was really good. BYU has been a sort of quarterback factory, comes from a good system. So I definitely think he's a first-rounder. I'm not as sold on Trey Lance because, to me,
Mike seemed very sold on Trey Lance.
Yeah, he did, and I respect his opinion. But mine is he's only played 1 year at North Dakota State, and he dominated, but that's North Dakota State. These other 4 guys all played against, and because Zach Wilson played against some high-level Power 5 competition earlier in his career, just not last year, due to the craziness of the schedule. But I think, and I do think Trey Lance is a guy that can be a good player in the NFL. That's not what I'm saying. There's no way I'd be taking him 4th.
Does the Carson Wentz what he's been able to produce or lack of production maybe hurt Trey Lance?
Maybe in some ways, but I will say wherever Trey Lance goes, and if it is to like San Francisco with a 3rd pick, I don't think it will be, but if it was, he does need to sit for a year behind a Jimmy Garoppolo. I don't think you bring him in off of 1 full season starting in 1 game and make him your starter in the NFL. Because to me, the 49ers, that's why I think they're going to draft Mac Jones, because they have everything else, Scott. They've got a defense. They've got a running game. They've been upgrading their wide receiver core. They need a quarterback to win a Super Bowl. They were just in a Super Bowl a couple of years ago. I don't think they've taken that many steps back. They just feel like they need to upgrade at the quarterback position. And I think
they probably have the least amount of holes to fill to be.
And I think Mac Jones is the most pro-ready. I mean, I do think that Trevor Lawrence will probably have some adjustment too, but he's an elite talent. And he's going to he's not going to a team in the Jacksonville Jaguars that were any good last year. Let's understand that. They were totally rebuilding, so they're not going to have expectations to make the playoffs. But I do think I saw a comparison between Andrew Luck and Trevor Lawrence that I thought was very interesting. And Andrew Luck definitely elevated that organization, and I think Trevor Lawrence could do the same for the Jacksonville Jaguars. But I think the best fit when you look at Matt Ryan's success under certainly Kyle Shanahan would be Mac Jones.
Darrell Bevell is the offensive coordinator for the Jacksonville Jaguars. The passing game coordinator is Brian Schottenheimer. So that is who they are entrusting to get Trevor Lawrence going in his first year when they take him with the number 1 draft pick. 30. All right, we did not get to all of Kirk Herbstreit. We'll get to some of that tomorrow. We've got Tennessee picks up a recruit. We talked about picking up one, Drew, but they picked up another one as well. We'll get to that tomorrow. We got a lot that we left on the table today for a full show to close out the week.
Yes, we did. Thanks to Mike Detillier. Thanks to Brent Beaird, no doubt about it. And Alabama did pick up Jaheim Otis last night. Many people believe the top player overall in the 2022 class, D-line out of Mississippi.
The PGA Tour's Korn Ferry Tour is coming to the Rocket City. Join us at the Ledges for the inaugural Huntsville Championship, April 29th through May 2nd. Experience the beauty and drama of the course firsthand. Witness golf's rising stars chase their PGA Tour dreams. Cheer on the future of golf up close and personal. Tickets are on sale now at HuntsvilleChampionship.com.
There's nothing worse than overhype, so we won't go overboard telling you how Taco Bell's Quesalupa is back with its cheese-stuffed shell. We'll skip the Quesalupa air shows and making a statue in honor of how there's cheese in every bite. Marvelous. And we won't send one to the moon. Instead, we'll pass on all the fanfare and just tell you Taco Bell's Quesalupa has returned, and we think you'll like it.